John's campaign concerns itself with the rights, well, we started the rights of people living with dementia to maintain contact with their family carers wherever they are, whether they're in hospital, whether they're in a mental health unit, whether they're in a care home, wherever they are. Over the most recent period, we've extended just to advocate for the rights of families to maintain contact. At the moment, we're talking about older people in care homes. And within this conversation, we mustn't forget, and this has been borne upon me very strongly recently, we mustn't forget the whole swathe of younger people who live in care homes. But just for the moment, focusing on older people who move in to live in a care home, for most of them, that's going to be their last change of address. And what we were, trying to get as a message was, this is just a change of address. You're moving from the home that your illness, your frailty, your loneliness can no longer, you can no longer remain living in, to a home with care. That concept has been tested to destruction. But the reason in normal times that this is such a fraught move, it's a sort of watershed in the older person's life. It's a point when, to be blunt, it's probably your last change of address. The statistics for the length of time that people live either in residential care, which is about 2.5 years, or nursing care, which is nearer 13 months, that's not a long time. And probably the older person is aware of this. It's a sort of giving up moment. Okay, I can no longer function as an independent person, even with the loving support of those closest to me. We can't manage this anymore. So it is a moment of giving up, and that's a very hard moment. And again, from the point of view of the people who love that person, they have this awareness that this is beginning to move towards the end. But of course, as none of us ever really talk about death and end of life or anything like that, because we want to pretend it doesn't exist, it's a big elephant in the room. And I think one of the things that the pandemic has made people like me aware of is the scale of regular, day-to-day, week-to-week, month-by-month death in care homes. In a way, we should be thinking of care homes as a special hospice-like place, but that would take quite a bit of strong-mindedness and a facing of facts, which a lot of the time most of us don't really want to do. But when I look at the statistics for the last year, I think here we are in May. I think since the beginning of last April, there've probably been about 126,000 deaths throughout the country from COVID. Within care homes, there've been 130,000 deaths, just deaths. And of those 130,000 deaths, about 30,000 have COVID on the death certificate. So the reason I think why the emotions around care homes are so intense, and I'm sort of amazed that more understanding hasn't been shown towards this, is because people who have been shut out from the, I won't say even the care of their loved ones, just the presence, the company, the companionship of their loved ones, know that they're running out of time. And so all the comfort things, oh, don't worry, it's just for a little while, you'll be back in, we're keeping them safe for you. Right from the beginning, people have been saying, but actually, please ask us, we don't necessarily want this. And the people themselves who live in the care homes are often quite realistic, and they say, I haven't got long, I'd rather see my grandchildren. And that's the big paradox, and that I fear we haven't cracked. now I'm afraid I do put hashtag care homes are not prisons. I am absolutely shocked at the way that care homes currently are being managed. Um, the assumptions, the word allowed out. Hang on, allowed out? You know, what's all this about? And without wishing to be controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway, I was watching Harriet Harman's committee on the Joint Committee on Human Rights, the Parliamentary Committee. And it was only a few weeks ago, and we were taking action over the I'm going to say facilitating, not the allowing, the facilitating of people to go for a walk or go down the park or do all these sort of normal things. And the minister brought a chap from Public Health England, because she was obviously she knew this question was going to be asked, and she was clearly uncomfortable and deflected the question onto the chap from Public Health. And he said that the problem with letting people out from care homes, and I'm using my words carefully here, was that they wouldn't be able to keep an eye on what was happening to them. And I was, you know, sitting in my sitting room watching this, and I thought, ever have we got happening here? What is, you know, surveillance? I thought, who keeps an eye on what anybody else, the care home staff or the care home manager or you know, or the doctor or the cook does in the rest of their time? Why are we keeping surveillance on the care home residents? And at the time that you and I are speaking, there is still a surveillance culture, because people who live in care homes are only allowed to go out if they're accompanied by somebody. And they have to take tests, and they have to, you know, say where they go. That's if they're allowed out at all. There are still many people who think it's okay to say no to this one, and so that's actually a big issue, and it comes up with many big issues. But anyway, after that, I was still sort of gasping, and I thought, who is this person? And I looked him up, and he is the lead coordinator for health and prisons. I'm not even, that's on LinkedIn, that's not even me being and if you look him up on Twitter, you know, he tweets away about prisons, and yet he's the person who also has oversight of care homes. And so, you know, suddenly I'm quite happy to talk about care homes being like prisons. And it has more, it has so many ramifications. But one person who I was talking to about this said, well, and the thing is, a good day in a prison is a day when nothing happens. It's a day when everything's quiet. It's a day when, you know, people just stay in their cells, they do what they're told, nobody riots. And one of the really distressing things that's happened in care homes now is that this feeling that's a good day in a care home. And that's not a good day in a care home. And very recently, you know, as in the beginning of this week, the Prime Minister said that, you know, you could have 5 visitors in a care home. I don't know where they pluck these figures out, but anyway, that's what it said. And some care homes, I'm sorry to say, said, no, we don't want this. Our residents have got used to the quiet. It's quieter without families coming in. This is not what we want in our homes, in the places where people are going to spend the last years and months of their life. We want life, we want vibrancy, we want singing, we want outings, you know, we want hugging, you know. So that's every week, every month, I think it's going to get better. And just at the moment, it becomes more deep and gloomy, and I wonder, you know, how we're ever going to work our way through these things.